Welcome back to the Wingspan Podcast, Episode 5. I'm Chris Mullen of Nets Daily, joined by my co-host Doug Barrick and our special guest. Our guest is the son of former NBA All-Star and current Los Angeles Lakers assistant head coach Jason Kidd. We welcome TJ Kidd to the pod.
Welcome to the Wingspan Podcast, TJ. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to join Chris and I. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, and then TJ, well, the first question we got to ask you is kind of obviously growing up, you're son of Jason Kidd, and obviously from New Jersey, like we talked a little bit off air. But when did you kind of realize that your dad was Jason Kidd?
Man, that's a great question. I think I first realized when probably when the kids in gym class were picking me first in basketball.
That
was probably when.
What age were you during that time?
Probably like in elementary school.
Oh wow, so pretty early on.
Yeah.
And then was there any type of, obviously, did you kind of, after you kind of realized, okay, they're starting to pick me first in basketball, and kind of you get that kind of treatment with other classmates in your grade and stuff, did you ever like look into, like, did you tell your dad about that kind of stuff, or did you ever say, hey Dad, this is what's going on in school, or anything like that?
Yeah, we would talk about it every now and then, but he thought it was good for me just to play basketball.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So TJ, can you talk about growing up with a parent who played and now coaches in the NBA? What was that like?
It's a very unique circumstance. A lot of people don't, like, they think that, like, you see them every day and stuff like that, but it's tough because they're on the road sometimes, and then sometimes they're home, and then they don't get to come to everything. But I mean, as the kid, we understand why, and it's cool. I mean, it's cool to be able to say that, like, oh, my dad played in the NBA. He coaches in the NBA currently. I get to watch him be around the best in the world at what they do, and it's fun for me.
That's awesome. Like, do you travel often with him, or is it more of more like your home routine kind of thing?
I mean, when I was younger, I did. I was able to go more places because, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, as some people saw, like, I mean, I was able to be around, and I knew not to be in the way. And
yeah, you were one of the OG podium guys.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it was, I mean, when I was younger, for sure, and then it was probably as I got older, I was like, oh, I don't have to be at every game. I can watch it on TV. I have other stuff I want to do and stuff like that.
All right. So growing up, did you play any sports? Like, obviously you mentioned elementary school, but did that continue as you were going to high school and perhaps even college?
I did. I played. I've played everything when I was younger, but as I got older, basketball was the one that stuck. I played for a lot of club teams in New Jersey.
Okay.
And then I went to Bergen Catholic for 3 years and played there.
What position did you play? Did you play point guard, or were you more of a?
I was kind of a point forward, center. Okay. Whatever they needed me to be.
I respect that. All right, cool. So, of all the cities that you've lived, what did you enjoy the most, since you've obviously traveled often?
Living in New Jersey and New York was probably one of my favorites.
That works for us for sure. Was there anything about New Jersey that really stood out to you, or?
It was. I mean, I loved having the season, all 4 seasons, and also just everything was easy to get to, and the people were always so nice and kind.
That's always great to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we related to a little bit of off air. Obviously, when you lived over here, you lived in the same county as I did, so I could totally relate on that. Obviously, when you're on the New Jersey side, especially from Bergen County, where we both were, obviously everyone's got a lawn, everyone's got a house. The roads aren't crowded at all like the city, and it's completely a whole different environment.
But it was close enough to the city where, like, if you had to go to the city, it was right there.
Exactly, yeah. Because in the end of the day, like where we were, at least where I live currently and where I used to live, we had kind of everything in our surroundings. If you went west, you had the outdoors. Same thing with North New York State. And you had the city 12 miles away, and then you went an hour south or closer to 2 hours south, you had the beach.
Yeah.
So you mostly had everything in the surroundings. And then obviously, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but what were some of your kind of earliest moments of your dad's playing career when he was in the NBA?
I don't really remember much when he was with Phoenix. I was young. I was probably between like 1, 2, and 3. So that wasn't really, I remember little bits and pieces, but I would have to say New Jersey is when it all started to, like, I remember things clearly.
Oh, okay. And then did you remember anything from obviously the year 2001? Obviously, that was the year that your dad got traded to New Jersey or went to New Jersey. And then he went to the All-Star game. And then obviously the Nets went from, I believe it was 26 wins the season prior to before your dad came to obviously being the Eastern Conference champions, going to the finals. Do you remember anything of that kind of iconic year at all?
I remember bits and pieces. Like I remember going to the All-Star game and just, not really understanding it, but just being more in awe of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then did you obviously you're the son of Jason Kidd, but did you look up to any other players or who was kind of your player that you looked up to growing up from obviously when you started to understand the NBA and basketball? Was there any one player or a couple players that you modeled your game after, or you had posters in your room of, or anything along those lines?
No posters, but there were a few people that I definitely took from and enjoyed watching play. Like I love the way that Kenyon played the game.
Yeah.
That I tried to take his intensity and keep that with me anytime I'm playing defense when I used to play in high school. It was always important to me to be defensively present and there just to be able to keep my team strong on that side of the ball.
I feel that. I got you. And then kind of what overall, obviously, throughout from when you started getting invested into the NBA and the process that your dad was Jason Kidd and you were a fan of basketball, fan of the NBA, kind of everything along there. What were some of your favorite memories so far, from dating all the way back to even today? And did you ever want to pursue a career and follow in the footsteps of your dad, being a point guard in the NBA or being an overall player in the NBA?
Every memory for me has been a good one. I feel very lucky to have been able to be in this situation that I've been in and to be able to meet a lot of the people that I've been able to meet. A few moments probably for me stick out. I would have to say the All-Star game in 2008 was cool. Walking down the hallway with LeBron at the All-Star game. I saw that someone sent me the video recently and I was watching that. I was like, wow. I was cool back then.
That's crazy.
But another one would probably be when my dad won the finals in 2011 with Dallas.
Uh-huh.
That one might be one of my all-time favorite moments.
I can imagine.
Yeah, can you just describe for the people listening, and obviously, well, for me and Doug especially, kind of what it's like to be in that environment of, okay, an NBA championship, like your dad just won the NBA championship, and obviously you're there, you're with the team, you're celebrating. Can you just talk about that feeling, kind of what you witnessed?
It's funny, actually, I wasn't there at school, so I couldn't. Okay. I wasn't able to make it down.
Gotta get them A's.
I was doing everything I could to get down there, but I was like, you know what? I have school. School comes first. I was watching it on TV in my living room with some friends and family, and we were just watching, and like I couldn't believe it. Like it felt like I won.
Ooh. So what were the emotions that you felt? Like, were there any tears? Was it like choked up? Like,
it was a lot of joy. It was cool to see something happen for my dad that should have happened one other time, in my opinion.
We agree. Yeah, no, it definitely feels that way. Like, were you kind of? Did you wake up the next day feeling like, did this really happen?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
like the next day emotions?
It was very cool. I went into school the next day because I had finals, and I was the coolest kid in school for about a week.
Only a week, damn.
Because it was the last week of school, so.
Okay,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And it was cool because I mean everyone remembers the hype going into that year. They had the big three, like press conference or whatever they did in the beginning of the season. When LeBron was like, "We're not going to win 1, 2, 3, 4." I think they said 8 or something, but
something absurd. Yeah,
it was something absurd, and I just remember being like, "Wow, like this is like this." Because I remember in the beginning of the year thinking, I'm like, I think they're going to win the title. Everyone kept asking me, like, oh, who do you think's going to win? And I was like, Dallas. Dallas is going to win. And they did.
That's crazy. And then obviously kind of, well, Doe, you want to take the next question on this one?
So, TJ, other than your dad's basketball career, what do you do now? Like, since you talked about you played a little bit of ball in high school. So what's up now?
Well, I mean, I try to differentiate and do different things besides outside of basketball because, I mean, basketball is something I feel like I'll always be connected to for the rest of my life. I think that just comes with what I've been able to experience and just be around. I think what I do now, I coach high school basketball for the past 2 years, at Beverly Hills High School. I started off as the varsity assistant, and then I was the freshman head coach last year. This year, I kind of took a year off to just figure out where I want to go next from that. But yeah, coaching basketball and doing stuff like that. I mean, I train kids on the side sometimes. It's fun to pass down the knowledge that I've learned, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then TJ, kind of what got you into coaching? Well, obviously, it's a very obviously he said basketball's always been your life and always be cemented onto your life because of the last name that you have, and obviously through your family blood and everything. But kind of what got you into coaching? What was your kind of first coaching job, or kind of what led you to that route?
What led me to it? I actually talked to my dad and asked him what it was like and transitioning. I mean, we all know his transition was a little bit quicker from playing to coaching, and he was just saying like, yeah, like if this is something you really want to do, just you got to give 110% to it and become a real student of the game and learn how to make tough decisions with time and time management was big for me to learn as I began coaching.
And what do you say, like, in your opinion, what do you excel at coaching? Like, what do you need to work on? What do you think you're like, you've got down thus far?
What I've got down, I mean, I feel like I'm able to read defenses well. I know how to make changes on the fly and just rotating guys in and out. That's something. It's tough in high school because, especially at the freshman level, because you want everyone to play, and
no, of course
that's how they get better.
All right.
But I mean, as I progress and go forward, I mean, I definitely want to coach at the next level and whatever level that may be. And I think
that's awesome.
And I think I think being more of a student of the game, I mean, I feel like I already am, but there's always something else you can learn, and there's always something else you can take from and make it your own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and is there any advice you've given some of the players that you've learned from your dad, perchance?
My advice to my players has always been just work hard.
All right, sounds good. So, sorry.
When you work, I mean, really, hard work beats talent. That's always been my MO.
Yeah, definitely respect that. So, was there ever a team you wish your dad could have stayed with? Like, what really stood back to you? Obviously, you mentioned New Jersey before, but
I
is there any
think
others, or is Jersey the premier time in your life?
Jersey was cool. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. I'm
Oh,
sure I probably can go down.
it's a fun game to play.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think I actually someone asked me this the other day, and they were like, "What do you think? Like, what would you have like thought if he would have went to San Antonio?" And I think it would have been cool, but I think New Jersey, they were building something so special there, and I think they were one or two pieces away. And I think maybe if we would have gotten into a year earlier, and him, Kenyon, and those guys, that would have been one hell of a team.
I respect that.
Exactly. And then can you just talk a little bit about kind of your dad's playing career as a whole, from when, at least from your experiences, right? So when you saw him kind of playing throughout his whole NBA career, how do you think that where do you think he ranks, at least on any all-time greats at the point guard position? How do you think his playing career went, and kind of just your overall thoughts on that?
I think he's definitely one of the greatest to ever do it. And I'm not just saying that because he's my dad. I think that his ability to impact the game without having to score the ball is a trait very few people have in sense of basketball.
Yeah. Okay. And then now this is a hard question, obviously, because your dad's been compared to this player many a times, and obviously it's Steve Nash. So obviously, how do you think the two careers back to back or kind of compared with each other? Can you just compare the two careers, what you saw from your dad and then what you saw from Steve Nash, which is kind of his rival, but obviously his position rival? It wasn't like they had bad blood or anything like that. It was just kind of their positions they played in everything.
Man, that is a tough question. I think that they both had incredible careers, and I think they both probably should have won more than they did. But I think what made them so fun to watch is their unselfishness, and their desire to make their teammates better. And I mean, they did. I mean, Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. My dad won a championship. I honestly, I would be happy with either. I think they both. I mean, it was cool to see them both go into the Hall of Fame together.
Yeah, there's no guys like it.
I mean, I watched I think it was an old Nets Suns game, and they both I think they both had triple doubles, but they were battling, and it was one of my favorite games to watch because it's two guys who have complete control of the floor, and they don't have to score.
Yeah,
exactly. They're both floor generals in their own way.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like you said, and obviously the tape shows it, they weren't just scoring point guards. They made their teammates around them better, and that's what made their team so good, especially with Jason Kidd and with the Nets, and obviously during his time in Dallas. Those are two prime examples.
Oh, 100%.
So TJ, what was it like for you, from your perspective, and probably from your dad's perspective as well, transitioning from playing to coaching? So as you mentioned before, it was a very swift transition. Retire, and already got a next job signed up.
It's funny. I remember that week. I remember he retired, and then I talked to him, I think the day after, and we're just talking, and he didn't really bring it up. He didn't bring up the coaching thing, and then I started getting hit up on Twitter by a bunch of Nets fans, and that's when I knew something was up. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I think I know where this is headed." And, and that's when it happened. And he became the head coach of the Nets, and it was a very interesting week because it was two things I wasn't expecting. I didn't know he was going to retire, and then and I definitely wasn't expecting him to become the head coach of the Nets that quickly.
Yeah, that's great. Obviously, that was crazy. And obviously, when he got hired, that caught a lot of people by surprise. Obviously, talking about your reaction right there caught you by surprise as well. But kind of, what did you think of that makeup of the team? Obviously, when he was the coach, obviously everyone's seen the Sports Illustrated cover and everything, and you got Paul Pierce, KG, him coaching, and then Joe Johnson, Brooke Lopez, that whole team. What do you kind of think of your dad's overall experience just coaching the Nets with that roster, especially?
I think for anyone in the situation of being a first-time coach, I think you first have to command the respect of the locker room as a coach. And I think if you look in the beginning of the year, they did struggle a little bit.
I think it was like 14-14 to start off.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was something really slow because, I mean, everyone was expecting them to come out and look like the Lakers do right now. But I think it takes time to build that chemistry between guys who have been through winning a championship and coming into a different situation, and this guy who used to be on the floor playing against them, earning that respect as their coach. It's something that takes a little time to adjust to and get used to, but I think he did a great job of it. And I think for someone to jump into coaching the way that he did, it definitely wasn't easy, but I'm proud to say that he did what he had to do, and he was able to take them to the second round, Nate. It was the second round, right? Yeah.
It was a very fun season.
I think I went to almost every home game.
How could you not? So jumping a little bit back, what was the feelings like? Because you mentioned it a little bit, but returning back to the Nets, like, did you ever expect your dad to be back to the Nets in such a manner and fashion? Because not just retirement, we all knew that was coming one day, but all, condensed like that.
Yeah,
so, describe some of the emotions, I guess.
It was very cool. It felt like a homecoming.
Yeah,
it felt like a home. It was very cool to be back with the Nets. It was because back in New Jersey, I think we left right around the time Brooklyn was being discussed. So we knew Brooklyn. I think eventually my dad was going to come back in one way, shape, or form, whether him having them retire his jersey or in some way, shape, or form. We knew it was inevitable, but I think it was important that it happened the way that it happened, and it was very nice for our family.
Yeah, it was beautiful emotions. I recall watching that game on TV, and then my uncle and cousin got to be there as well. So a few questions I got to ask about the season. What were some of your favorite memories? Now, I'm going to start with mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember with Tyshawn Taylor and the Hit Me?
Moments
of the season. Probably one of the most favorite.
I was there, yeah. I remember. It took me a second to process
about that.
I thought it was brilliant.
Did you ever look at Coca-Cola and think, you know what, I need distraction? And next thing you know, just...
It's funny, actually. I coached a game last season, and the refs were explaining the rules to the kids, and they were like, they asked, "Do you know about the Jason Kidd rule?"
Ooh.
And they just started laughing. They're high school freshmen, so of course because they know who my dad is, and they didn't. And then they told them, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, and it's funny. I texted my dad after the game. He thought it was hilarious.
I'm still waiting for that Coca-Cola endorsement. I think they've got something right here.
Hey, they could. Hey, I agree.
Put it out there. Get some Coke endorsements. Just don't make sure to spill it. Need a moment. Drink a Coke.
Yeah,
I think
we might need Ryan Reynolds to direct that.
So, since you mentioned it, jersey retirement, what was the motions like going through it? So I know we've seen a lot in the last few years, like some big names, but what was it like, being in that moment on the court, just seeing you go up into the rafters like that?
It's funny. A lot of people didn't think I was there, but if you look at a picture of it, I'm standing right under the
I was going to say, I could have sworn you were there, yeah.
I was standing right under the banner. And I have the video on my phone somewhere, but I just remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. Like, I remember just being a little kid. I'm like, time goes way too fast. And I mean, I got a little emotional. Darren Williams had to throw me a towel.
That's a good assist right there.
Yeah.
Dropping
Oh no.
on the bench. Love it.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I mean, it was really cool, and we sat in I think we sat in a suite that night, and it was very cool. It was a beautiful moment for our family, and I know my dad. My dad's not someone who shows emotion, but I know he was happy about the body of work he had given to earn that.
All right. And there's a few more questions I have about the season that just popped up to me.
For sure.
What was the moments you felt like sweeping the Heat? Did you expect something like that? Because I know all the hype was, championship dreams was the big, slogan or mindset. So what was it like during the regular season to see all those games, end in that stub?
It was interesting. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but I was happy that we did it because it was an advantage I felt that we needed going into the playoffs. But I think it's important that people remember that. I mean, without Mason blocking that shot, I think
that was so fun.
A lot of people stepped up on the team during the season.
You just reminded me.
I mean, Mason was huge.
Yeah. What do you remember? Mirza versus the King.
Oh, I love exchange. I do remember that.
What were some of your reactions seeing a guy that maybe not every casual NBA fan would know, just stare at LeBron smirking after a hard foul?
I love it. I mean, it reminds me of the old school basketball that I grew up watching.
But where do you think your dad ranks as an all-time net?
As an all-time net? Oh my gosh!
I know we keep getting these loaded questions to you.
Man, there are a lot of great all-time nets. Dr. J, Drazen, Kenyon, Vince. I mean,
list goes on.
Darren Brooks.
So many, yeah.
Like what theoretically? I know this is a big one. What would be your all-time Nets team? And obviously, and I'm gonna quote Chris. Obviously, your dad is the point guard.
So I would have him coming off the bench, but
ooh. All right, let's hear it.
If I'm coaching the team, if I'm coaching the team, he's
all right. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
My dad obviously at the 1, Drazen at the 2, RJ at the 3, Kenyon at the 4, and oh man, actually no, I'll slide everyone up 1, except my dad and Drazen. I've insert Vince at the 3, Kenyon at the 5.
All right, that's a solid team.
And who's your 6th man?
And then have Dr. J and Vince come off the bench.
Oh, you're killing him, man. Now, here's a loaded question. What coach that your dad had do you think might be – I mean, obviously, you were talking as yourself, but what if, let's say, you're the GM of that team? Who's your coach for that? Who's your greatest Nets coach of all time? From your opinion. He can even be your dad, but I don't know how – I guess he could be a player coach for that.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Russell did it, so I mean, I'll maybe make him the coach or make.
If I had that team, I would have Chuck Daly be my coach.
Chuck Daly would be a good one. Oh, maybe Calipari.
Yeah, Calipari. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Calipari maybe.
Oh, it's hard.
Byron, I mean, you can't forget Byron Scott, Lawrence Frank, those guys.
Yeah, that was the time where Kyrie started becoming a big fan, or after Byron was gone, he kind of, faded away from being a strict team to the Nets. So, yeah I get it.
One of those guys. Yeah. I mean, it could really – there's so many. I mean,
with that kind of talent, could be any coach for that matter. I'm not going to say it would be me because I don't know how that would really work out. I'd probably get fired after the first few games. But jumping back a little bit, the one question I just realized I should have asked, did you have any memorable moments with KG? Because KG is usually the most quotable guy, like, Joe Jesus. So did you have a moment like that with him? Like, of all the big names, did you ever have like a very quotable, memorable moment with some of those big names?
Oh man, KG, I could go on forever. The dude is he's probably one of my most favorite like trash talking guys that I've ever got to
Did he ever
be
trash
around
talk
or just
when
watch
you
play?
were, following your coaching games? I mean, you can say no, it's fine. I'm just curious.
I think there was one time. It was actually, I think it was in Brooklyn.
Oh,
And when it wasn't to my dad, it was to me. And I was hanging out under the basket. It was actually at open practice. And I said something. I don't know why I even opened my mouth. And he said something. He said something I'm not gonna repeat, but he said something. He said something like I'm not gonna repeat, and then he was like, let me know when you scored over 22,000 points. I was like, oh, you're right. I should. I was like, you're right.
damn.
But he's probably one of my favorite power forwards ever.
Oh, damn. Okay. And then we talked about this a little bit on last episode with Matt Brooks, but regarding the power forward position, obviously this is just opinionated as well. Are you taking Kevin Garnett or Tim Duncan on your team to start a franchise with?
Oh man, I'd have to say Kevin Garnett.
Okay, I agree with that.
Because I need a vocal leader in my locker room. I need someone who's gonna challenge whoever else I have. If I have another star on this team, I need KG. KG would be my guy.
Feel that. All right.
That's a good one. And then we're going to transition a little bit, obviously, into today's NBA.
For sure.
So, obviously, the New York Knicks, they haven't been too great as of recent years, especially with TJ in our lifetime at least. Yeah. So can you talk about a little about like your opinion on the Knicks, their current state? What do you think they should do to get better? What do you think that they are doing good? And kind of just your overall thoughts on the team.
Well, the Knicks are, I feel like the Knicks are a lot like the Cowboys in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. They have a lot, they have talent. They have a lot of talent on paper. There seems to be a lot of disconnect in a lot of different places. And I think that once they figure it out, they'll be able to figure out how to get back to where they once were back in the 90s.
Okay, that's smart. And then obviously your dad's been all over in the head coaching rumors for the Knicks and everything.
Oh yeah, no, I've been reading that.
Oh, I can imagine. Would you want him if the job was offered to him? Would you advise him to take it at all, or would you rather just have that be his decision?
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's up to him. He's got to do what's best for him and what he wants to do with his coaching career. That's honestly up to him. I support him no matter what he does. That's great. That's great to hear. And then, hey, you come back to Jersey. So that'd be good too. Come back to the nice Bergen County. Hey, who knows?
So continuing the theme of the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Current state of the Nets. Obviously, we made some. Wow, I'm picking up Chris on the obviously's. So we've been we had a pretty powerful summer. Yeah, we've had some recent injuries, but we've still, been battling. Bring back to Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
And so what are some of your opinions on the state of us? Like roster, last few years, time since your dad coached and that kind of stuff. So we'll play through and through.
Okay. I think you guys have been making great moves. I love the roster. I love Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris. Those guys are hoopers. They know how to play. They play the game the right way. Jared Allen's going to be good in a couple years. He still has he still has to develop. Who else? There's a lot of guys. I like Theo Piston a lot. 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 I I think.
Right.
I mean, you guys went and got one of maybe the greatest 7-foot scorer ever in Kevin Durant.
He's all right, you know.
I mean, he probably has the most unguardable jump shot.
Yeah, it's scary. Some people were. I saw recently that people are like saying, "What would he be without his height?" Still a scorer. I mean,
Oh no, he'd still be a scorer. He just,
yeah.
I mean, Kevin Durant. That's a guy you want on your team.
So, do you think we'll be seeing him towards the end of the season, or do you think, you know?
Honestly,
obviously, we're not going for gold this season. We're just developing experience and, you know, keeping the positivity going.
I mean, I think he'll be. I mean, he's going to be around a lot. Like you'll see him on the bench and stuff. But I mean, I don't think he should rush back.
Okay. And what do you think about Kyrie? Unfortunately, he's had this nagging injury. So I believe, as of today, I think it's tomorrow's game. It'll be like a 16th straight game he's missed. So, but other than that, what you've seen so far and what you expect from him going forward, what's kind of your opinion thus far?
I think he's happy. He's extremely happy to be there. I think he wants to be there, and I think he wants to win there. And I think that they will. They just have to. I mean, at full strength, I think that team is going to be very good.
Where do you think you would rate us among the teams of the East? Not NBA overall, but
I would say top 3.
Okay, I feel that definitely.
Top 3.
That's not bad. And then what do you think about the Los Angeles Lakers? Obviously, your dad's the head coach. I mean, the assistant head coach. Sorry about that, but where do you think they're going to end up?
Honestly, I mean, I think that they'll win it all.
Okay.
They'll win it all. I think that they have. I mean, they have the 2 best basketball players on the planet. It's not even fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even fair. And
do you think we're going to Staples Center battling out in the conferences for the finals?
I would love to see it. I would love to see a Lakers Clippers conference finals.
Go to all 7 games easily.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think LeBron's made a very strong case for MVP this year.
He's been my pick to win MVP since the preseason. I think he has a lot to prove. I think he's doing that right now, and I think he's going to win MVP this year.
And I really think he was listening to all the pundits talk about, oh, he's lost a step. Oh, he's getting up there. He's past his prime. I mean, I don't think we've really seen he's 35 and he's putting up 28, 8 and 8 like it's nothing.
You know, exactly. I think I know what the secret is. It's all those Taco Tuesdays.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out the top. I haven't. I'm still waiting on it, and I'm just trying to get. I mean, the Taco Tuesday and all that wine he drinks.
Oh yeah,
that's the dream. That's the fountain of youth right there. Tacos and wine. Yeah. No symptoms required. Anyhow,
that man is a beast. I mean, it's just it's fun to root against him, but it's so much more fun rooting for him.
Definitely. So, I mean, you kind of jumped ahead to who's winning it all, but what are some of the teams that caught your eyes, and who do you think is coming out of the East?
I think the East is interesting. I think Milwaukee does.
Okay.
I think
now is that your former Bucks bias or?
Nah, it's my bias. I think it's just.
I mean, I agree with you, but I had to put that out there.
I mean, I do. There's guys I like on that team, and I think that they have all the right pieces, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made it. But I mean, Milwaukee, Philly, Charlotte's been kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. They got some nice young pieces, but it'll probably be a year or two before they get back to the playoffs.
Obviously, Brooklyn.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, no, I still follow along.
What do you think we'll see with our rocky start? I know because the China trip, a lot of people, I think Brian Lewis mentioned something about play like a 40-42 win team, which is right now I think what we're pacing for. But
I think he's right. 100%. I think you guys are right there. 42 wins, 43, maybe 44.
Okay, that's good. I like that. I definitely want to increase on wins, biased and all. And what do you think about the makeup? Who do you let's make this a little bit. I don't know if it's harder or simpler, but who do you think the top 4 teams of each conference will be?
So in the East, I think it.
Order doesn't matter per se, but because I know that's always tough.
Yeah.
But who do you think, regardless of order?
Milwaukee. I want to say Toronto, Philly, and depending on how
I know it's tough.
How fast Brooklyn can get healthy, I would put Brooklyn in that top 4.
Love it, man. Love to hear it. And how about the West?
In the West, LA, Houston, and Denver.
LA, Houston, Denver. I guess the Clippers is the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, speaking of East versus West, do you think this is the year Luka joins the All-Star team?
He has to. He has to. I won't watch the All-Star game if he's not in it.
Takeover.
I think I honestly think he might be a once-in-a-generational talent.
Yeah. Do you think he could theoretically be the next face of the NBA per se? It's him and Giannis right now. They can.
I think they both are. I think those two. I mean, they dominate the game. They put up ridiculous numbers, and they're just so much fun to watch. And it's so much fun to watch them dominate games. And I think Milwaukee's won 16 straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last game was without Giannis.
And I think Luka just had a triple double in Mexico against the I want to say the Pistons.
Yeah, he's quite fluent.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think over there
all right, but I mean Luka,
Yeah, I mean Luka. My thing with Luka, this kid's been playing professional basketball. I think since he's been 13.
Yeah,
that's the point that everyone misses. He's been playing professional basketball at such a young age, and he moved out of his house at 13, 14, 15, whatever gap that was. So he's been playing against grown men since he was a very young age.
And he makes it look
so effortless. That's what's even more impressive. Yeah.
When he becomes a free agent, man, oh man, they're gonna want to pay that guy.
Oh, he'll walk away with a pretty, if not the biggest deal in NBA history by then. It's gonna be
for sure.
It's gonna be pretty good. Same thing with how Giannis pans out.
100%.
So
next summer is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
So TJ, I personally have 2 more questions to ask. One is a follow up with Luka. I don't know if you saw. I think it was from last night's game, but people are comparing his facial reaction and pose and Kristaps dunking to the whole LeBron D-Wade thing. Some people got upset by it because it's clickbait type stuff, but it was very
for sure.
So how'd you feel about that? The next big thing.
Honestly, I thought it was cool. I mean, I thought it was cool. The comparison was cool, but I mean, we live in a time where everyone's outraged about everything. So
that's very fair and true. And
so I just think that it's very important that people just learn to take things with a grain of salt.
Yeah, no, we're very, with social media, we're easy to overreact. It's
100%.
Crazy, the toxicity, and even good and bad with it all.
100%.
One more thing before we get to the very end, unless Chris has anything else, is will we see you in Brooklyn when the Lakers come east?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to seeing you in person then.
I will be in Brooklyn when they come to New York next month.
I feel that. Well, we look forward to, if Chris comes in, I'll definitely be there with my fan section, so you might hear us with some chants, possibly.
Oh, I know. I went to a game last year. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Block and the Brooklyn Brigade. Yeah, it's so much fun, man. Maybe if you decide to root against the Lakers, that game will bring you in.
Maybe.
You'll leave it as a maybe. Okay.
I'll leave it as a maybe.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up right then and there. Well, TJ, we really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to talk to Doug and I. We really appreciate it.
For sure, anytime.
And then, okay, Doug, well, you want to give out the closing remarks?
You know it, man. So remember, guys, feel free to email over any suggestions, questions, comments, or thoughts on any of our content by sending an email to wingspanpodcast@gmail.com. And do not forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram accounts and subscribe to our podcast on your preferred listening service. As for next time, stay classy and take care.
Yay!